Hello, everyone. So this is going to be a tutorial video on the features that students have access through Jamboards by Google, and also what you're going to have to do every time before discussion sections is potentially maybe during discussion sections in terms of how to use Jamboards, how to set up your discussion sections or the groups in each discussion section for each particular Jamboard. Right? And then also if students have any questions, it's good for you to be comfortable with the features that are available in Jamboard so you can help the students. But again, I'll provide videos like this. Actually, I might provide a very similar video to this one for the students so they can see what features they have, and hopefully they'll know how to use it then. But first of all, the first thing you want to do is go to jamboard.google.com. I'll have this link in the home course homepage for the main course, Math 1405. So you can access it through there, or just memorize it as jamboard.google.com. Once you go in there, assume that you're logged into your Gmail account that corresponds to the Gmail account that you're using for this particular part of the course, and you'll be able to see all of your jams. Right? So each of these specific things are called a jam. Okay. If you're not logged into Google, you're gonna be asked to log in. Right? And make sure that if you have more than one account, I believe it's gonna go directly to whatever Gmail you have logged in here. So you see, I'm logged into a specific Gmail account. It'll go directly to that one. So if you're using a different Gmail account for setting up the groups in Jamboards, make sure that you're logged into that specific Gmail account. So you're gonna see something that looks very similar to this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create about probably 10 groups per discussion section and make you owner of those Jamboards. Okay, so here you're gonna have a Jamboard or jam per group, right? So I think I only did the first 5 for group for section 20, and so 5 groups, and I stopped at 4 groups for section 21. But assuming those are all of them, then this is what you're going to see. Now, assuming that you've already decided what your groups are going to be for the discussion section, remember you have to do this before the actual discussion section. You're going to come here, click on whatever group you want to assign people to, or the students in your class. So let's say we want to assign students to group 4, section 20. So click on that jam, and then you're going to see the actual Jamboard. If for some reason they're still writing from, let's say, the previous discussion section, you can go ahead and click on the button that says Clear Frame. Now, the only problem about clearing the frame is that it will delete everything that's in the actual whiteboard. So you have to make sure that the students know or remind them never to click on that button. Now, I'll tell the students as well not to do it, so hopefully they won't, but if it happens, I think it might happen. I doubt it, but if it happens, you have to remind them that to be careful with that. Okay, so never click on Clear Frame. Okay, now to add students to this particular jam, you're going to go to this button where it says Share, and then what you're going to do is you're going to add them by email. Right, so I will give you a list of the Gmails of everyone in your class, and not only that, I'll tell them in the instructions to set up a Gmail account that has their first name _ last name and then some symbol, right? So it will be very easy to determine whose Gmail account is which based on their email. Okay? Now, this is the tedious thing, though, that every time you're going to have to come in here and add people or students specifically by email. Now, the thing that is very nice is that once you've added them once, I believe to any jam, then it'll save the email. So it'll be very easy once you've done this once. You just go back and say, okay, I want to add the student Jorge Flores, for example. And then, okay, this is their account or their Gmail account. So you just click on it, and then it'll send them an email. Now, there's a couple of things here. Make sure that the Notify People option is checked. It does this automatically, so that this is the preset. And also make sure that the option here where it says Editor is marked as Editor, not as Viewer. Again, the preset is going to be Editor. So if you don't touch anything, it's already going to be like this. But just in case you touch something for any reason, make sure that it's always on Editor and on Notify People. Then what you're going to do is, let me actually send it to someone else. I'll shoot to this one. I'm going to send it to 2. Right. So say I want to add all of the students. Say these are the 2 students that I want to add to this group. So you add their names to both editor, that'll both be notified. And then you send the message. Right. So what this will do is that I'll send an invitation to their Gmail account. So let me show you how that looks like on the student's part. Right. So here, this is the Gmail from this. And then if you can see here, I got an invitation to it. So it says, should say whatever email you're using has invited you to collaborate on the following jam. So all they have to do is click on Open in Jamboard, and they will be sent directly to the specific jam you invited them to. right? So again, I'll give students a tutorial on how to do this. So as long as you set up the groups before the discussion, and as long as you remind them to enter their Jamboard that they're assigned to, they should be able to do this very easily, right? Because they'll have the invitation in their Gmail, and it's going to be a different invitation for each week. Okay. Now, once you've done that, and then students are going to be able to access the Jamboard, right? So let's say you're in the discussion section. What are the features that students have as members of, or as being able to use this Jamboard? What can they do? Okay, so there's a couple of things that are going to be important for us. So the first thing is, oh, and here what I did is I joined from my phone. So it'll show everyone that's joined in the upper right corner here, right? So you should always have, if you have 3 students in your group, you should have 3 icons here. And when you click on it, it will show their name that they're using for Gmail. I will ask them as well if they can put just their first name, last name, so that anyone can know who is it that's writing at a particular time. Because, for example, if I want to write something, and let me make sure that it writes, you'll see that it has my portrait there, right? So students are going to be able to know who is it that's writing at a particular time. Okay. But anyways, let's go through the features. Okay. So on the left side, you're going to see this menu here. We're going to go just step by step. The first thing is a pen. Notice that there's a arrow here that points to the right. If you click on that, you can change whether it's a pen, whether it's a marker, whether it's a highlighter, whether it's a brush. For most things, students are just going to be using the pen or the highlighter. So I would just focus between those two. I don't really know what a marker does. So I would just focus, again, with pen and highlighter. You also have the option to change the color. Now, let's say I use red. So it'll show that my writing is in red here. So that's the first feature. The second option here is an eraser. So the eraser is going to erase anything you've drawn with the pen. Now, this eraser won't erase any pictures or any sticky notes. So we'll just erase anything that's being drawn with any tool here in the first icon. Now, the third option is select. I don't really know what it does, so I wouldn't worry about it at all. The fourth option is a sticky note, right? So the point of the sticky note is if students want to write a message or a sentence very quick, they can do it just using a sticky note. So let's say they want to write the value should be 76, something like that. They can just write that. They can select a background. And I would recommend not using the non-background because the background here of the jam is usually going to default to white unless someone changes it, right? So I wouldn't go with white, I'll tell them that. So we just go with any of these colors. You click save, and it's going to throw the sticky note in the Jamboard. If you only want to do one, then you click cancel. If you want to do more than one, then you just do another one and click save. Now, you can move this sticky note around. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller. You can edit it. So you can click on, let me do that a little bit slower. You can click on it. You'll see this menu, this vertical 3 dots. Click on that and you'll get 3 options: edit, duplicate, and delete. Right? And they do as what you would think. This one edits, so you can edit what the text inside. This one duplicates it, and then this one deletes. Okay, so very simple. Now, unfortunately, as of now, students can't paste any pictures inside the sticky note, which would be a very good feature to have. But that's not something we can do yet. Hopefully, at some point, they'll have that available as a feature here. Okay. But that's a sticky note. And again, the point of the sticky note is if someone wants to write a sentence or any statement very quickly, they can do it using the sticky notes. So that's the fourth option. The fifth option is going to be one of the most important ones. At least I want it to be one of the most important ones. It's the add image feature. So I'm going to click on it to see how it looks like. When I make the tutorial videos for the students, I'm going to teach them, or at least give them links if I cannot do a video because I don't know how to record on my phone. But I'll show them how they can save pictures into their Google Drive. So the point of that is, let's say, for example, that a student is writing something in their work, because remember, they'll be doing their work in their specific papers by hand. Right? So let's say someone wrote a mathematical equation in their paper and they want to share it. Right? If they have a tablet, it would be very easy to write it. Right? However, if they only have a mouse, it's there from a computer, then it's very hard to actually type something that's coherent just using a mouse. Right? So the idea is that they would, instead of that, was doing something like this, taking a picture of their work with their phone, going into add image, and since they saved it to their Google Drive, they should just be able to click on Google Drive, and it's going to show the images that they have saved there. So it should be very easy to use, assuming that students know how to save their pictures into their Google Drive once they take pictures through their phone. Now, I'm going to make sure that students know that they have to do this, or again, we can't require them, but that I'm going to make sure to emphasize that they do this, right? And then hopefully it's not going to be much of a problem. Right? Now, again, since I don't know how to record in my phone, I might just link them to a YouTube video or link them to a YouTube video and a article that explains how to do it. I know it's not very hard. Okay, so hopefully it's not going to be a problem for students. But again, I'm going to make sure to tell them that it's something that they have to keep track of, that they should watch, and that it's going to help them a lot in using Jamboards. Okay. So those are the 4 main features. Again, the pen, eraser, sticky note, and adding pictures. Now, there are other options here. For example, you can do shapes if you want to do a circle. I don't know why anyone would want to use that, but just so you know it's there. There's this option called the text box that is very similar to the sticky note. It basically does the same things. However, you can't really edit the background. So if you're using the default white background in the Jam, this is also going to default to a white background, so it's going to be very hard to use. I also don't like it because I really like the contrast that you get from the sticky note. Right? So you can, the fact that you can actually choose what color you want, right? I think that's very nice. So again, the text box has the same options. You can edit, duplicate, delete, but for the most part, I wouldn't even worry about that. Students should only be using pen, eraser, sticky note option, and add image. The last option here is a laser, which kind of works like a highlight, meaning that you can highlight something temporarily and then it's going to get erased. Right? So let's say if a student, someone wrote something, I want to highlight the number 76, I can do that with the marker option. So it serves a very similar purpose to the highlighter. So let me go to the highlighter here. I can highlight number 76. Right? Now, one thing that's bad about the highlighter is that if you basically write or highlight a lot over a specific spot, it'll actually highlight too much and you won't be able to see anything. So just be careful with that. Again, the eraser is going to erase anything that you've done with the pen, but it won't erase anything else, as you can see here. Okay. So those are basically the features that students are going to have. Again, make sure to have them steer away from the clear frame. If they want to change about the background, they can do it. I mean, there's not much of a problem. For example, they might want to use a ruled background, so it's easier to write if they're using the tablet. But for the most part, they are probably going to stay with the non-background, which is just a white background. Now, the only other thing to remember is that once students are done with their discussion, there's a couple of things you want to do. You want to delete everything, right? Because we're going to assign different groups to the jams the next time. So you can just do that very easily by doing clear frame. Then you're going to go here to share. In each specific Jamboard, you're going to have to do this. You're going to go click on share and then look at the emails of the students. Click on this option here that says editor, and you can just click remove. And that way you're going to delete the students from this particular jam. Meaning that when they access their Jamboard again, so let's say I go, let's see, can I go back to my Jamboards? I don't think I can, but they should only see the Jamboards for which they're assigned. So if you assign them, let's say, Jamboard called group 1, section 20 in the first week, and then you delete them from that group and then give them access to Jamboard group not named group 2, section 20, then they won't be able to see the group 1 from the previous week. They should only see the Jamboard for that week, and that's the one that should be assigned. Okay. So there shouldn't be any problems with them seeing more Jamboards than they should see. Now, finally, the last thing that is good to know, and again, this is going to be more important for the students, is that, let's say I write something, you can actually save. So if you see here, again, in the top right, you see this, again, 3 vertical dots. You can actually click on that and then download as a PDF. You can save the frame as an image, or you can make a copy. Right? So if students want to save their work, and again, I'll tell them about this in the video, but if they want to save their work, you can tell them that they can either download as PDF or save images, save frame as image. And again, any student can do this. They don't have to be the owner of the jam. They just have to be an editor and be part of the jam. So any student that wants to save anything at any particular moment can just click here and then click on the particular option, either download as PDF or save frame as image. Now, those are basically the features and what you're going to have to do. Now, remember that you're going to have to add and remove students for each Jamboard. Okay, so as long as you remember to do that, you should be good. Okay. And then again, if your students, for some reason, let's say not enough students show up and you end up with a group with only one student, you can go ahead and in the middle of the discussion, right, just go to your computer and then change them from whatever Jamboard they are alone in. You can delete them from there and then add them to whatever Jamboard you're going to move them to, right? Because if someone's alone, we're going to have to move them to another group. Okay. So that's it for Jamboards. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. You can email me or send me a text message.